The process of aging, it can be very subtle or profound and alarming. Those unexpected and unwelcome changes in our lives as seniors cover a wide range of territory. I'm Esther Frank, and this is Inside Out, a program to address a few of those challenges and offer a roadmap to help navigate the bumps for a smoother ride. Today, we'll talk to Jim Housel, Business Development Manager with SenseAid, a company that offers a new high-tech monitoring system designed to help seniors maintain a safe and independent lifestyle. We'll also talk with Edith and Dolores, active seniors who enjoy their independent style of living, but have very different points of view about electronic safety monitors. But first, we'll meet Todd Walter, owner and administrator of Crosairs, a home-like environment to care for seniors. Todd Walter dedicates his professional life to the elders in his care. He'll be with us shortly to share his story and life-altering experiences. But first, let's go straight to see what's shaking at the Meadowbrook Senior Activity Center in Novi.
This class helps them regain that good feeling again. They get bone muscle back. You can regain bone muscle through the strength training. They have more endurance, as you can see from doing the cardio. They have better range of motion. It helps with rheumatoid arthritis, get some of the fluid out of the joints, keeps them moving.
It really does keep you going and keeps you moving. You come out of there feeling stronger, healthier. I'm really lucky. I'm keeping well, and the exercising helps keep me well, keeps me stronger.
For being an older citizen, I'm in very good shape. I thank the Lord for that, I'll tell you.
And with me, I dislike regular television, and I only have rabbit ears, so I stay out of my apartment as much as I can. And the walking does help.
I've made a lot of friends here. The people are very good. It's fun. We do have fun. We laugh. And we still work out. We're good. We do it all. With weights and everything. So it's great.
We have experts who keep us fit and other experts to help get us through different stages of life. I'm thinking about Dr. Benjamin Spock, who wrote the best-selling book on baby and child care. His basic theme, be flexible, affectionate, and treat your children as individuals. That message strongly resonates and decades later could apply to a whole other time of life. Todd Walter, Master's in Social Work specializing in gerontology, is the owner and administrator of Crosairs, a home-like environment to care for seniors. He has more than 19 years of experience in that field. Todd knows about the challenges of aging, the importance of promoting independence, freedom to determine one's own actions, and to gently offer support with respect. Welcome, Todd.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
The word gerontology doesn't resonate with a lot of people. Would you give us some idea of what it's all about?
Sure. Gerontology. I'm a gerontologist. The study of getting old, the study of that word old, and how we define the word old, how we embrace the word old, how we want to live and grow old. Many different disciplines in our world, such as social work and psychology and sociology. But in a nutshell, if we were to define gerontology as a field, it's a field of study of that word, growing old.
Sounds pretty complex to me.
Could be.
But you make this your work, and how do you apply those things?
Well, I've been in the field starting my 20th year, as you mentioned in the opening. I apply it every day. I've been applying it for the last 20 years. A year ago, this past April, I followed my dream and opened up my very own small residential home in caring for older adults, Crosairs, as you mentioned, where we care for no more than 6 older adults. And how we apply that field of gerontology, that study of old, is that we really look at not optional aging, but optimal aging. Many times, number one, it's not an option to grow old. We're all growing old. Every moment, we're continuing further in that journey. But how do we best optimalize that journey? And what we look at are different domains within optimal aging, such as our physical health, cognitively, where we're at, how we sharpen our brains or work with our brains. Spirituality is very important. Socially, being engaged, being a part of community. Emotionally, and then also intellectually. So we look at all these domains as an individual and create a culture and create a world to make them continue to grow and be successful in their older years.
So in your environment, in this community that you've created, you see people who are still wanting to go on in some achievement, some area of creativity or accomplishment?
Oh, very much so. We all yearn to continue to give back. And in our society here in the U.S. culture, we really confuse care with treatment. A lot of times as we continue to grow old and we may need physical care, we confuse that with treatment. And let me define what I mean by that. Treatment is meeting the medical needs of people, helping them in that journey. Care is providing opportunities to continue to grow. We all have an inner child, quote unquote, still within us for the creativity to flow, to continue exploring the world, to continue to outreach in community. And many times as we age, and we reside in homes that provide care, which is really the treatment, that's where we confuse that. And all those other aspects of our life are out of our reach. And so Crosiers does just the opposite. We meet the medical needs of folks. We make sure their pills are passed and help them in many different areas, but we are continuously looking for ways for them to continue to grow and give back to the community and be a part of the community in which they live.
You've mentioned community a few times. How do the residents there engage with community? Is it within the confines of the home that they're in or the surroundings? Do you actually go out into the community?
Oh yeah, absolutely. When we look at community, you're right, you mentioned within the confines of the actual home, absolutely. Being a part of community is very important. Two of the things that we greatly fear as we age in our life cycle is social isolation, and then also losing respect from others within the community or in society. So at Crosiers, every day we are looking for ways to engage together in the home. And you mentioned earlier in the opening segue about a home-like environment. Crosiers is very much, it is home. And what we mean by that is every day on a 24-hour cycle, the elders living there are part of the creation of that home. From meal preparation to planning, to decorating, to working in the garden, all those things that are rich and meaningful in their lives are happening there. Then we also branch out in the external community. Again, how you mentioned earlier on, Crosiers, that's Gaelic for the word crossroads. We all have crossroads in our lives, and especially as we age, we may be faced with and encounter additional, more life-challenging crossroads. Our mission statement at Crosiers is where care and community intersect. So we provide the care, and then where community intersect, we are out in the community. We are changing the paradigm of growing old. We volunteer in the community. We are in parades in the community. We serve on different volunteer committees in the community, all again giving our elders opportunity to give back.
And so thinking about them in those kinds of activities, at the end of a day like that, how would they describe a good day?
How I would say our elders, if they were here today, would describe a good day is a day in which, number one, that we, the team who work with them to make sure that their life is fulfilled, is rich and meaningful, is that we understand them as human beings. That we don't focus solely on their medical needs. It's important to know that, sure, but we focus on them, who they are as people.
And what does that look like? You know, give me an example of what that might look like.
Well, what that may look like is when folks move into Crociers, we do an in-depth social assessment. And with our social assessment, we really begin to develop the relationship from day one. Now, that relationship, of course, develops over time as we really get to know that person. But, for example, if I'm a person who never got up before 9:30 in the morning, you're not going to get up before 9:30 in the morning at Crociers. If you're a person who eats oat bran every day, that's what you're going to desire to have. We create the whole life cycle in a 24-hour period based on the interest and the needs of the people who live there.
Are there things that you can share with us about people who have come through a day that is kind of unusual in some way that you can think about?
Yeah, one particular individual, 94-year-old individual who lives with us, she moved in a year ago in May. And before she moved with us, she felt that maybe her life journey was reaching an end. And a granddaughter of hers heard about Crociers and found out about us. And a year later, the same individual continues to grow and flourish today at 94. She moved in at 93. And let me give you an example of what I mean by that is, she was ill and was moving through a journey of life. And when she moved in with us, she had a walker. She was on oxygen, and she even came with a hospital bed. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. That's where she needed to be at that journey. Within a rather short period of time of living at Crociers, this woman graduated off those things. This past May, just 3 months ago, this same individual at the age of 94 walked 1 mile in the American Cancer Society Relay for Life. And she was awarded by the American Cancer Society the plaque as the oldest walker who participated in this event. Now, when we stand back and we look at that, from where she came from a year ago, a little over a year ago, to where she's at today, I am convinced the culture in which where she lives now, because it provides opportunities for her to feel safe, loved, respected, honored, and to grow. That's why that opportunity happened for her in May.
It's outstanding. How rewarding.
Very rewarding.
How rewarding
Very
for you
rewarding.
and the people who have worked with this individual and her own well-being at this point.
That's right.
What other activities do some of the residents want to do that may kind of take them off the beaten path?
Yeah, well, beaten path. Here's another one. When I said earlier in the interview about, we all still have an inner child within us. What I mean by that is, as a child, we yearn for that creativity and that fun and adventurous life and risk taking. But a lot of times as we age and get old, society takes away those opportunities for us to experience risk anymore, based on a whole different paradigm of how we view aging. Well, in the new world way of thinking about growing old, we don't eliminate those experiences. We foster those experiences.
Like what?
Like kite flying. All right, here's a perfect example. All right, kite flying. What do you mean I'm 86 years old and flying a kite? Exactly. That's what we're talking about. Out at Crociers, we're located on 10 beautiful acres of property for a plethora of things to happen. Gardening, we have a chipping green, we have walkways, a bonfire pit, and lots of areas to fly a kite. So again, when we fly a kite, go back to that first experience in our childhood when we flew our first kite, if you've ever flown a kite, the joy it brought when we got it up in the wind and we were controlling it. Why should that stop at 80, 90, 100 years old if you want that to continue? And that's what we do again at Crociers, is just that.
What, getting really to something a little more serious, because this is a time of life when people contemplate and think about a lot of things. What are the main issues that come up that are of concern?
I think the major concerns that older adults have as they're continuing further in the journey of life is they have a fear of if they need to reside somewhere else. If I have to leave my home, will I lose my ability to be independent? Will the people who provide care to me, will they listen to me? Will they honor my voice? Will they honor my choice? And there is a movement in our U.S. culture and globally, the culture change movement, which organizations are a part of, which we're beginning to explore that. Crocers is well down the road of that. But I think if we create homes for older adults, and we put them at the center or the nucleus of that environment, and we listen to them. We listen to them, and we create a culture around them as individuals. They will be much happier, they will thrive, and they will continue to grow no matter what stage or how old they may be. And we all yearn to be loved, we all yearn to be safe, and we all yearn to be independent and want our voices to be heard. In that traditional nursing environment out there, in nursing home environment, long-term care, we still have a long ways to go with that. We have a long ways to go, and that's what I think scares a lot of people.
I'm going to just say this for now, Todd. I'm Esther Frank, and you're watching Inside Out with Todd Walter, the owner and administrator of Crocers, a unique home for seniors. Another question that I was thinking about, Todd, in this complex view of seniors, the happy side, the areas of concern, things that tick them off.
I think what ticks, in talking with seniors for many, many years and older adults myself, I think what ticks them off is being treated as they were a child. I think that's huge for a lot of older adults, from it could be their adult child, treating them like a child, making decisions for them. We live in such a fast-paced culture today. Everything's flying at us, that I think sometimes we just have to step back and listen to the voice of that older adult. And I think if we did that, that would make them feel so much more important and a part of decision making. I think number one, though, being treated as if they don't exist. And I think we do a really good job, poor job of that still within the U.S. culture, of not, because we're so fast-paced, we don't slow down to really listen to the voice of that individual.
Is there anything else you can add to this picture of active seniors at this stage in their lives? Is there any other things you'd like to share with us?
I'd like to share a really neat experience that occurred with one of our older adults who lived at Crocers. You know, again, how I say our mission statement is, well, we have our mission statement where care and community intersect. But we also have a very strong vision statement at Crocers. And our vision statement reads, we honor elderhood by continuously creating a culture of well-being rich in meaning and purpose. Everything revolves around meaning and purpose. And what that looks like for you is different than for me. And we had one gentleman who moved in with us in May of 2012. And we knew that he was not going to be long for this earth when he moved with us. But his attitude really lived our mission and our vision. And this gentleman was a physician in the community for 45 years, and he had from all the stories I heard from people in the community, he had that wonderful bedside manner with people that he helped care for. He helped us really live our vision. And let me give you a couple examples of what I mean by that. This gentleman died on November 7th of 2012 at Crocers. We embraced his life, and we embraced the journey of him moving forward. 2 months before he died in September, he rode in a convertible in a homecoming parade in our town. He was dressed up as Spider-Man in a Halloween costume, and he passed out treats to kids in the parade. That was the first time in our small town that an aging community had participated in a parade. Now, if you stand back and look at the bigger picture of that, that's profound. Then why shouldn't our elders again be part of community? The second story about the same individual, about a month before he died, he was he taught boating safety and instructing part of his career, professional career. But about a month before he died, he had a desire to go back in the water and to ride on a jet ski. And he was a very ill man. Yet, because of who we are and what we embrace at Crociers, we challenge society. We challenge government to look at aging in a whole different way. This is what we would want for ourselves. So back in October, a nice fall day, the same gentleman, with the help of the staff at Crociers and his son, he rode on the back of a jet ski on Lake Lansing in Lansing, Michigan. That's optimal aging. That's optimal aging.
That's outstanding. This has been so enlightening. Thank you, Todd, so much. After the break, we'll be talking with Jim Housel, the Business Development Manager with SenseAid, and we'll have a visit with Edith and Dolores, two active seniors who enjoy their independent style of living, but have a different point of view about electronic safety monitors. This is Esther Frank, and we'll be right back with more Inside Out after the break. Welcome back to Inside Out. I'm Esther Frank. Keeping up with the latest electronic devices? Probably not high on your list, but if you're paying attention, you'll hear exciting news from Jim Housel. He'll tell us about how state-of-the-art sensors in strategic places can keep seniors safe at home. But first, let's check in with Edith and Dolores, both active seniors in their 90s, who have something to say about this subject.
I was taking a shower, and I came out of the shower, and I felt very dizzy, and I couldn't hold on to anything. And luckily, my son had brought me this pendant, and I had it in the bathroom, and I put my hand out and I touched it, and I fainted. And 5 minutes later, there were about 5 people came in and found me.
I've fallen several times. Fortunately, I've always been able to wiggle over to something that was a stanchion of some sort and pull myself to my feet. I've never been hurt. This is Brandon Meadows, and he's my neighbor 2 doors down. And he's been very, very helpful to me with yard work.
I like her, and I like coming over here because I like talking to her, and she's my best friend.
I have a monitoring system. It's primarily for my daughter's comfort. I don't want to wear it. I've given it a lot of thought. I think it's a matter of control. I don't want to have 911 called. I don't want to go to the hospital. If I fall and I can't get up, I want to have time to think about what is the best course of action for me. And so I'm just taking my chances.
The aging population makes choices to suit their needs. What are their options? The technology is there. The reasons for their very existence are there. We're talking about electronic ways for independent seniors to be safe. But from what I've heard, and unless they're required to wear one, it's hard to get the senior's stamp of approval. What's the problem? Jim Housel, Business Development Manager with SenseAid, a new player in the field, knows the answers. Let's talk. Hi, Jim.
Good morning,
Welcome
Esther.
to Inside Out.
Thank you very much.
Well, about these sensors, they do come in all different sizes and shapes.
Absolutely.
Take us into your world. Let us see what they look like.
Okay, I brought several examples today, and they can even get much smaller, and they can also be much larger, but most of them are in this range. And how the sensor works, I'll give an example of a pill container for a client. It may be in a drawer, and the sensor will be placed on the drawer, so when it's opened, we know that the client is getting his or her pills. Or if it's not opened at a certain time, and it's supposed to be, the sensor will send us a signal saying, Jim's mother was supposed to get her pills at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's 9:15. She hasn't gotten them yet. It will then send a signal to a designated caregiver, son, daughter, neighbor, next door, 1,000 miles away, and the circle of people is huge and can be designated by the client. It will send them a signal saying, Jim, your mother hasn't taken her 9 a.m. pills. It will send a signal again in 15 minutes just to make sure, because everyone's not exactly on the same time. And then it will say, Jim, we need to contact someone. She's not taking her pills. It's now 9:15. Another one that is often a concern of some of our clients is it's completely unobtrusive, private. You designate who is contacted, when they need to be contacted. But also our system allows for scheduled reminder calls to the client. If Jim's mother is supposed to take her pills at 9 o'clock in the morning, she will get a reminder call if she hasn't taken them by 9:15. If she doesn't take them again at 9:15, she will get another reminder call at 9:30. If she doesn't take them by 9:45, then the signal can come again to the designated person to say, your mother hasn't taken her pills and we're not hearing anything from her. And those are what we call scheduled reminder calls. We also have scheduled automated care calls that can be done. And those are ones that ask very simple questions of the client via any sort of web-based or telephone system. It can be their desk telephone, it can be their handheld telephone, it can be a tablet computer, desktop computer, laptop computer. Any of those means the client can be in contact with whomever they want, and vice versa as scheduled. The automated care calls are very interesting because they'll call you at a designated time as the client wants when they get up in the morning, and we also have sensors that can tell us when they get up.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. And it's very neat because it's again, it's just a system of aiding the client. It's not pushing them. It's not getting into their personal business. But if they want someone to at least know that they're okay, and they're supposed to get up every morning at 9 o'clock, the sensor will tell us when they haven't gotten out of bed. And then another facet when we have our automated care system is on predetermined times. Our system will call the client and say, Emma, which was my mother's name, have you taken your pills today? Yes or no. Press 1 for yes, 2 for no. Emma, how are you feeling today? 1 for very good, 5 for very poor. And it has a system like that without any human interference whatsoever. We also can have it so it provides a caregiver-initiated call where we'll check and see, and I may have a break or on lunch or something like that, and I say, well, I'll check and see how Mom's doing today, so then I can call her through these same devices that she's used to. We think it's definitely a very modern system. And, excuse me.
Well, I'm thinking about what Dolores said, and I'm wondering, why do you think so many seniors would even resist this kind of monitoring?
I think because they might not know the degree of privacy that they can control with it. As Dolores had mentioned, she wanted to make the decision herself, and this system allows her to do it. She can have a vast number of people on the system to contact her, or she can contact, or she can have no one on the system. It can contact clergy, and clergy vice versa, her doctor, and vice versa, her son, daughter, whomever it is that the client wants to contact them. So it gives them that flexibility of privacy that so many of our senior citizens want to maintain. They want to have their privacy and their independence. Yet they also have good sense enough to know that sometimes they may need help.
Now, you know, Edith talked about her incident happened in the bathroom, which can be a very unsafe place, and people do fall. Are these water resistant?
Yes, they are and can be, and I'll point to this one as a specific example I brought. This one is frequently put up next to the shower. And again, since it's not a camera, and it's strictly a sensor, it'll be, in my mother's case, I referenced that my mother was 5'5". We had it next to the shower for her as a sensor, so when she'd open up the shower curtain, the sensor would know that she's been in the shower. If it was at the 5'5" level or about 5 feet. Then when my mother would get out, the sensor would activate again. So if my mother was in the shower for too long a period of time, the sensor would say, she hasn't come back out, something's wrong, and it would send its automated signal. We have one like this, which I like as well, because frequently clients are not too able to adjust exactly the temperature of the rooms or their home or where they're staying. And this one reads the temperature for them, and it can tell them automatically to the device that they have, either their stationary phone or any handheld device, that, Emma, the temperature's down to 65 degrees and you like it at 72. You better have someone check on it. And that's sent via a text message or a phone call. The final real neat component about this whole system as well, Esther, is that it captures the information in a report format, again, that the client designates who wants it, and sets up a histogram so that the client knows what's going on, or the client's son or daughter have a history of how well, or caregiver or a person that's interested in their welfare. They can tell them how well they've been doing, have they been taking their medication on time every day, how many times have they missed it. So it has a nice record to help them manage their environment.
So do you find the people who call to get Sense8 in their home, are they the elder person, the senior, or the family, an adult son or daughter? Who makes that call?
Most of the time, 99% of the time, it's the younger adult, son or daughter, niece, nephew, even a concerned neighbor. And then everything, though, still has to be approved by the client. But it certainly is a peace of mind for the client and peace of mind for the client's relative or friend.
How much do these cost?
Well, we have a full range, but I can tell you that the lowest price that we have is less than $10 a month. Really? And that includes quite a few little carrots in the system. It includes some reminder calls. It includes some automated calls. And that's our least expensive package, and it's less than $10 a month.
What about people who think about the pendants and the bracelets? Those are well-known items for people to wear, and in some ways they carry it with them outside the home. What about these sensors? Do they go outside the home?
The sensors can go outside the home because they can be tied to cell phone, iPad, desktop computer. But as an example, the sensor can be set up in the car with a time, and even if it just set up period without a time, that when the sensor is next to the ignition key and it's turned, it will send a message to whoever has access based on the client. So they know, wait a second, first and foremost, mom's not supposed to be driving. That's a problem. And or, geez, mom turned the key on at 9 a.m. That's good. She's on her way to her doctor's appointment. Doctor's appointment takes about 20 minutes to get there. When she turns the key off to get out of the car, it will send a signal saying again, ignition off. And that way you know that your loved one has made it to their destination. So yes, they are portable.
How does it interact with the cell phone?
It sends a text message and or a phone call. It will actually be an automated phone call that says, Emma, it's time, you didn't take your medication. Or Emma, why didn't you take your medication? And she can even text in a reason why. I'm out of it. Or I'm going to get it refilled. So it can be as active as that or inactive as that.
Is there any maintenance that's required?
Oh no, these are very, very low maintenance. The worst thing that will happen is that the battery will run out if you have it in there for multiple years. They're the very standard dime-sized batteries and even smaller, but they also send a signal when they're getting tired. So we have advanced warning when the battery is starting to get tired, so then we can be proactive and have it changed.
Well, Jim, that's a lot of really good information.
Thank you.
It's going to take a while to think about
Indeed.
the things that we've heard today, but if you want to leave one message in a sum up of what you've been talking about, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that the Sensate product and service offers them the independence that so many of our seniors and clients want and need still, because they've been that way for many, many years, yet they can have the confidence that the help is there when they need it. It won't automatically call 911 for them, but it can monitor everything else in their circle, in their world, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without being interrupting their privacy.
Security.
Indeed.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you very much for having us.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Inside Out. If you would like more information about our show or want to watch it at any time, simply go to the internet. You'll find us at civiccentertv.com. Have an idea for the show? Please send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. My address is esther@civiccentertv.com. That's all the time we have for Inside Out today. I'm Esther Frank, and until next time, be healthy and safe.
Thank you for having us today.